Level 1. The contact. You're sitting in a coffee shop on 5th and Main. It's 3 a.m. No one else is here except a barista who's pretending not to see you. Your phone buzzes. Unknown number. The message reads, "Someone's interested in what you have." You don't know what that means yet, but you've been broke for 6 months. Rent is due in 4 days. You need this to mean something. The voice on the phone is calm. Too calm. "We deal in a specific product," he says. "Memories. Real ones." You laugh. It has to be a joke. "Not the memory of a vacation," he continues. "Actual neurological experience. Downloadable. Shareable. Real." He gives you an address. A warehouse in the industrial district. "Tomorrow night, 11 p.m. Bring nothing. Tell no one." The line goes dead. You sit there staring at your empty coffee cup. Your phone glows in the darkness. Part of you wants to forget this ever happened. But rent is due in 4 days. You show up. Level 2, the harvest. The warehouse is exactly what you expect. Concrete, metal, the smell of machine oil and something else. Something chemical. There are 5 other people here. None of them look at you. The man from the phone appears. His name is Kes. He's older, maybe 50, wearing a suit that costs more than your car. "You're here because you're desperate," he says. "Or curious. Doesn't matter which." He walks you to a chair. It looks medical. Sterile. There's a helmet attached to it. Wires. Nodes. A memory, he says, is just data. Neural patterns. Electrical signals. He places his hand on your shoulder. "We extract them. We sell them." Your heart is pounding. "How much?" you ask. "For your first extraction? $5,000. $5,000. That's 3 months of rent. That's breathing room. That's hope." "It won't hurt," Kes says. "You'll feel like you're dreaming." You sit in the chair. The helmet comes down. Everything goes white. When you wake up, it's done. $5,000 is in your bank account. And you feel empty. Not painful empty. Just like something was taken from you that you didn't know you had. You drive home thinking about what memory they took. You can't remember. That's the point, isn't it? Level 3, the expansion. 3 weeks later, you're back. You've already spent $2,000. Bills, food, a payment on your credit card. Kes offers you $10,000 this time. A specific memory, he says. "We have a buyer. Very particular." "What kind of memory?" you ask. "The kind that matters," he says. "Something emotional. Something real." You think about your memories. Which ones can you spare? "A breakup," you say. "I have a breakup. It was painful. Recent." Kes smiles like you just told him the exact thing he wanted to hear. The chair again. The helmet again. White light. When you wake up, the memory is gone. And you feel lighter. Relieved. Even. $10,000 in your account. You start thinking differently about your memories. Which ones hurt? Which ones do you wish you could forget? Which ones are valuable? You text Kes. "I have more." Level 4, the business. Now you're extracting memories twice a week. Kes has given you a cut of the profits. Not as a worker, as a scout. "Find us the memories no one else can find," he says. "The traumatic ones, the shameful ones, the ones people would pay to forget or pay to experience." You're making $30,000 a month now, more than you've ever made. You move to a better apartment. You buy good clothes. You start noticing that people treat you differently when you have money. But you're also noticing something else. Your past is becoming fuzzy. You can't remember your mother's face clearly anymore. You can't remember your first kiss. You extracted that one, sold it to someone in Berlin. Kes calls it the cost of entry. You're thinking about the moral implications. he says during one extraction. That's weakness. These memories exist in your brain whether you keep them or not. Might as well be useful. You want to argue, but you're making $30,000 a month. Level 5, the broker. 6 months in, Kes makes you an offer. You're good at finding the product, he says. I want you to find the sellers. He's offering you $50,000 a month to recruit, to find other desperate people, to bring them into the warehouse, to watch them sit in the chair. You hesitate. Think about it, Kes says. You're already part of this. Might as well profit from every level. You think about it for exactly 20 minutes. You start recruiting from your old job, from your gym, from dating apps. Desperate people are everywhere once you know what to look for. The extraction facility expands. 3 more chairs, 2 more operators, a second location across town. Your commission grows. 70,000, 80,000, 100,000 a month. You buy a car you've always wanted, a watch that costs more than your old rent. You eat at restaurants where you don't look at prices. But something is happening to you. You can't focus on faces. You forget conversations immediately after they happen. You're starting to feel like you're living in the future because your past is being systematically erased. Kes notices. You're extracting too much from yourself, he says. Slow down. But you're addicted to the money and to the erasure. Level 6, the hunter. One night, someone comes to your door. She's younger, maybe 25. She's crying. I sold you a memory, she says. A year ago, I sold you my memory of my father, before he died. You don't remember, huh? That's the problem. My brother found out, she says. He bought that memory. He experienced my father's last moments. But he didn't get the truth. He got my version of love and grief. And now he thinks I was lying about everything. You try to close the door. She pushes back. Do you know how it feels to have someone else wearing your most precious moments? To have them experience something that was yours and only yours? You don't answer. She leaves. But she's not the last person to come to your door. Level 7, the cost. The paranoia starts slowly. You begin wondering if people have your memories. If someone in the grocery store is experiencing your childhood. If a stranger is living through your worst moments. If they know you better than you know yourself. Kes says it's normal. Cognitive dissonance, he calls it. But it's not dissonance. It's horror. You're extracting memories now just to make them stop existing in your head. Traumatic ones. Shameful ones. But also good ones. Because if they don't exist in your mind, they can't be happening to other people. Your apartment is covered in journals. You're writing down memories before you forget them. Trying to remember what you've lost. Some entries make no sense. Some pages are blank because you can't remember what happened. Kes calls you. We need to talk about your stability, he says. I'm fine. You lie. You're extracting 5 times a week now. You're fragmenting. I've seen it before. We need to retire you from the active program. Retire. That word terrifies you. Because without the extractions, the memories might come back. And you're not ready to remember. Level 8, the loop. Kes offers you a new position. We want you to be the operator, he says. Sit in the control room. Run the machines. Guide the extractions. He's offering you $200,000 a month. You accept immediately. Now you're on the other side of the chair. You're watching other desperate people sit in the seat you've sat in dozens of times. You're seeing the white light in their eyes as their memories are taken. You're hearing their quiet gasps as something essential is removed. At first, you feel like you're in control. But you're not. You're watching the cycle repeat. Desperate person. Extraction. Money. Addiction. More extraction. Paranoia. Breaking point. And you realize you're part of a machine. Not running it. Being run by it. One day, a young guy sits in the chair. He looks familiar. You try to remember where you know him from. It takes you 3 hours to realize it's someone you recruited 3 months ago. He's back for another extraction. He's made it to level 3 already. You think about stopping him. You think about telling him to leave. Instead, you put the helmet on his head. Level 9, The Reckoning. The police arrive on a Tuesday. 3 detectives, a federal warrant. They've been running an operation for 8 months. They have testimony from 4 to 7 people. They have documentation of memories being sold to people with criminal intent. They have evidence that one memory, a serial killer's perspective during a violent crime, was extracted and studied by someone planning a similar attack. They have you. In the interrogation room, they show you photographs. Victims, people whose lives changed because of memories that were sold and resold and weaponized. One woman who bought the memory of a suicide, who decided to follow through. One man who bought the memory of a violent crime and felt compelled to recreate it. One child whose father bought his own daughter's memories and viewed them. You try to defend yourself. I was just trying to survive. The detective laughs. So were they. Level 10, The Mirror. In the holding cell, you start remembering. Not your memories. Other people's memories. You realize something. Every memory you extracted, you kept a copy, not consciously, but the machine records everything. Neural patterns, electrical signatures. Every extraction is stored, and they are coming back to you now. A wedding day that wasn't yours. A mother's last words you never heard. A first kiss you never experienced. A betrayal you didn't commit. A grief you didn't earn. Your mind is becoming a graveyard of other people's lives. In the trial, Kes turns state's evidence. He gives up everyone, including you. You're sentenced to 12 years. But the real sentence is the one happening in your head. Level 11, The Haunting. In prison, the memories accelerate. They are flooding your consciousness now. Decades of stolen lives. Decades of experiences that don't belong to you. You can't tell which memories are yours anymore. A therapist tells you it's called memory dysphoria, a neurological condition that can develop from repeated memory extraction. Your brain is essentially trying to rebuild itself, she says, but it's using pieces that don't fit. There's no cure. There's only management. Some days you don't know who you are. Some days you remember being 12 different people. Some days you can't remember your own name. But you always remember the extraction chair. That memory is real. That memory is yours. Level 12, The Final Memory. On visiting day, someone comes to see you. It's a woman you don't recognize. She sits across the glass and says, "Do you know who I am?" You shake your head. "I'm your sister," she says. "Oh, I was. Before you extracted our childhood together. You took my memory of you from me. And then you forgot me entirely." She stands up to leave. "I came here to tell you something," she says. Kes cut a deal. He's out in 3 years. And there's already a new operation starting up. A better one. They've solved the fragmentation problem. You feel cold. They are offering extractions again, she continues. Better technology. Better buyers. And they are looking for people who know how to run the old system. She leans close to the glass. Kes says you could be out in 5 years if you cooperate, if you help them rebuild. She leaves. You sit there in the visiting room, and you realize something. The real extraction didn't happen in the chair. It happened the moment you realized you could turn your pain into profit. The moment you decided that other people's suffering was a business model. The moment you forgot that every memory, no matter how painful, is what makes you human. Epilogue, The Cycle. 3 years later. There's a new warehouse in a different city, different technology, better extraction rates, fewer complications. A young person sits in the chair, desperate, broke, afraid. The operator, it's someone new, places a helmet on their head. And in the darkness before the extraction begins, they think one clear thought. This is just temporary, just until I get back on my feet. The white light comes, and the cycle begins again. Because the black market for memories will always exist. As long as people have pain they want to forget, As long as people have money they are willing to spend. As long as there's someone desperate enough to facilitate the transaction. The question isn't whether the memory dealer survives. The question is whether they ever find their way back to themselves. And that's a memory that never gets sold, because it's the only one that matters.